Well, good evening and welcome back to another episode of Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore. I feel like that name is a mouthful. I find myself struggling to get my mouth around it. But anyway, in the last episode, we started the While Guthix Sleeps quest, namely and mainly to unlock 2 books that we found in the beginning stages of the quest. Well, now I'm almost finished the quest. I've gone through a bunch of sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm on the 8th section since the last time you heard from me. And I just beat this really, really hard boss. And I feel like all the guides and information out there are incomplete. I had to go to Reddit to figure out how, a couple random people talked about doing it. Now, that information was also on the wiki, like the final approach I used, but it was really unclear. I don't know. It didn't make it didn't explain that, for example, what I had to do was hide behind a pillar and then wait behind the pillar and think about each next phase of the attack. Like every few attacks that the boss did, I had to go behind this pillar and think like it's a puzzle. Like, how do I handle this next one? This boss was the balance elemental protecting the Stone of Jas that we read about in the previous episode. Alright, so since I just beat it now, I can go up to the Stone of Jas and touch it, and then there'll be a couple more enemies for me to fight, but apparently it's not too hard. But this boss uses all 3 attack styles, and you're supposed to, based on the color it is, when it changes color, and then you're supposed to immediately change your prayer that you're praying against to match its color. And then the thing that I found confusing was that I thought you also had to attack it with a style that was different from the one it was attacking you with. But you don't. So, okay, realizing that simplified things. But I feel like it was not clear in the guides that I read that, you can use any type of attack in general, at least in the first part of the fight. I thought I had to, switch it up and, hold this whole matrix in my mind of, what is it attacking me with? How do I attack with a different style than that? But then it also prays its own protection prayers, but maybe half the way or a third of the way through the fight it starts praying its own protection prayers. And so then that's another layer of the matrix. It's okay, so I have to pray against the thing it's changing to, and then I have to attack it with something it's not praying against, and I have to switch those prayers fast, and I have to switch my weapons. But then, in the final phase of the fight, of course it's getting faster this whole time, in the final phase of the fight, you have to, it'll pray 2 protection prayers at once, and so you have to see 2 icons in the bubble over its head. You have to, and if you keep damaging it with something that it's praying against, it won't switch its protection prayers until you use a different style. So you have to keep an eye on what its head is. Switch your prayer to match, so it matches the color of its head, so that you're praying against the thing that it's attacking you with. Then you have to look over its head and see what 2 icons are in the bubble over its head, and then you have to use your own attack style that's not one of those 2 things. So if it's praying melee and range, you have to use magic at the same time. But it might be attacking you with range right then. So you're thinking, okay, I have to pray range. It's protecting against range and melee, for example, so I have to use magic. And then it's attacking you super fast, so every handful of seconds you're switching all of that. And, like, the guides I was looking were like, it's super easy. All you have to do is make sure you're praying correctly, and then it'll be fine. It's like, no. There's all this other juggling you have to do. And it just boggles the mind. I'm like, my mind just doesn't work that fast. So when I finally found this advice to just hide behind a pillar, then it's like it stops attacking you. Well, there's a pillar in between you two. And even then, I had to, like, pause and think, okay, this is what it's doing, this is what it's praying against, this is what I need to pray against, and this is what I need to do. And all of that, like, in between the attacks, like, I almost even didn't make it through this last fight. I have 4 sharks left, and, like, a couple doses of, like, stat restore potions. And that's it for my resources. Yeah. It was tough even with me waiting all that time. But, I mean, I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like the next time I fight it, it wouldn't be that hard. But I don't think I could ever beat it without hiding behind the pillar to pause every time. So, anyway, you're catching me right after I dealt with all that. But right now I'm going to go to my house, restore my prayer, because there is one more fight that I have to do before this quest is done. And remember, when this quest is done, we're going to unlock Duradel's notes, and I'm going to read that before we say goodbye. So, you're catching me right here at the end of the quest, after we talked right at the start of the quest. And in the meantime, it was a really cool quest. There was a bunch of stuff going on. Impersonation, I had to impersonate 2 different types of people. There was this, like, mage battle that was, like, one of the coolest boss fights I've had. Even though it frustrated me, it's, like, 2 mages fighting it out. And you have to, like, use things that counteract, like, the things it's doing. So it'll, like, this person will, like, spawn in, like, 2 henchmen, and they use, like, different, like, they have different names, and so you have to see what their name is, and then you have to use a spell on them that, like, counteracts who they are. And then sometimes he'll, like, shoot special spells at you that are, like, colored for the different elements, and you have to use, like, an opposing element. So if it's fire, you have to use water on it. If it's air, you have to use earth on it, and vice versa. And then this is the coolest part. In this other, this previous boss fight, sometimes he throws an explosive orb on the ground, and you have to telekinetic grab it, so it goes in your inventory, and then you have to alch the explosive so that it doesn't damage you. I'm like, that is, like, such a cool use of the game's built-in spells, and it really felt like I am, like, this is 2 mages duking it out with all their powers, and I'm, like, scooping this like, explosive off the ground with telekinesis, and then I'm just, like, turning it into gold so that it doesn't hurt me. It just felt really cool. So that was probably my favorite moment of the boss fight. But I mean, we found Lucian. Lucian killed a bunch of people that were helping me out. So our, like, group is, like, really diminished in numbers. Like, the first act of the quest, I'm, like, building up the group. In the second act, I'm, like, infiltrating this lair, which is where I fought that mage. And then the third act, there's, like, you're, like, going down and way down into this chasm beneath Lumbridge, and where Juma, that snake, was at the Tears of Guthix minigame. And then you're, like, impersonating Movario, the person whose base where we found those 2 books. You're impersonating his boss, who's the mage you just beat. You're wearing his clothes, and you're telling him, because we're trying to find the Stone of Jasp, because if they find it for Lucian first, then Lucian's gonna, like, become all-powerful and destroy the world. But if we find it, then we can stop Lucian. And so I go down there, and since I'm technically Movario's boss, I'm, like, impersonating his boss. I'm like, let me go down there. I'm going to make sure this all goes well. I'm going to go uncover the stone. And so I go through these caverns. There's this whole, like, herb lore puzzle that you have to do. there's like this elemental kind of like 2 layers of elemental magic items that you have to like combine in these ways to get into this cave, and then when you get into the cave there's this herb lore puzzle that you have to do, and all of that opens this huge door that leads you to the Stone of Jas finally, and then that's where I fought that balance elemental. So just a really cool quest, one of my favorites so far, I gotta say, just for how it was like put together and like the ways it used game mechanisms and just, I don't know, the stakes. Pretty awesome. So I'm just not skilled enough to do that last boss fight in real time. Okay, so now I'm going to grab probably a couple prayer potions and maybe a stamina potion, and then probably just a bunch of sharks, and then I'm going to teleport back down there so to finish it off, because I teleported out to take a break and resupply between these 2 fights. So I teleport to Tears of Guthix, and then I run north, then Movario is here. Movario is the one who actually helps me get down into the chasm, and so I have to use a sapphire lantern on these light creatures that pick me up and like carry me down to the chasm. But like, I'm not typically able to see how far down they can go, so Movario like casts a beam of light on me to help me like make it all the way down safely. So now I'm looking at this cutscene of me just like floating down into the abyss in the middle of this like creature of light. And I've gotten down there now. The music down here is called The Sound of Guthix, so it's like I'm right in the depths of the earth, which is like, you know, that's where Guthix is like just sleeping, threatening to reawaken if the world is thrown out of balance. And that balance elemental that I fought was like this like creature of Guthix designed to protect the Stone of Jas. I tried to reassure it that I'm doing all this in like good faith, but it's like, hey, I got one job to do. I'm here to protect the stone, so best of luck to you. And then it fought me. So now I'm going back down in there. I'm back in this cave where I did the herb lore puzzle, opened the big door, and go back into the room where the fight was. It would suck if that boss came back, but I don't think it does. No, it would have bumped me into the boss fight by now. So I'm going to touch the Stone of Jas, and once I do, all my combat stats are going to get boosted to level 255, and then there's going to be these 2 creatures that attack me. Actually, I need to see if I'm supposed to pray against them. I should fight them one at a time. It can hit quite high if their attacks are not protected against, so how do I know what their attacks are? Tormented demons, there's going to be 2 of them. Kill off them. I need to go to the actual tormented demon page and see what attacks they use. Attack style all. How am I going to know? So they just cycle through the attack styles that I'm damaging them based off. So if I've been damaging them with melee, then they're going to switch to melee attacks. No, this says they'll change their protection prayer. Yeah, this might be tough. Because no one's telling me. Maybe they just... doesn't look like they change colors based on their attack style. They can pray against and attack using every combat style. Okay, so I think I just have to keep an eye on what their actual attacks look like. I don't think it's any, I don't think there's a clue based on like what they look like. I think I'll have to actually see like the particles, for example, of their attacks. But here I go. I'm going to touch the Stone of Jas. We'll see how this goes. Okay, I'm leaning in and I'm touching it. Okay, now there's like a cutscene. There's a mysterious voice that says, "I still don't understand, Drift Array." It looked like it was that mage that I fought. And I say, "It was V who first found it, deep below the ice of Lunar Isle. A single touch granted him the power of the gods, the power of limitless creation." And I'm seeing like a flashback and like kind of sepia tones of V touching the stone. Then I say, "Over the centuries, it changed hands many times. It's like I'm in a vision, and I'm like being imparted this knowledge." That's the kind of effect I'm getting. "For each person who'd use it for good, another would use it to destroy." Mysterious voice. "And the kin? They were bound to it long ago. To use the stone causes them unimaginable pain and grants them immense power." And then Robert the Strong says, "So the only way to win," I think this is also a flashback, and I say, "is the stone." There's my stats boosted. Movario is down here now, and I say, "What in the..." Movario says, "The stone, after all this time, I finally found it." Darv says, "And look who's here as well, the so-called Lord Surrock." That's the name of that mage that I beat. Movario says, "Yes, quite a clever ploy, Drift Array, but you should have known I'd work it out. Now step aside." I say, "And let you take the stone?" I don't think so. Okay, this thing is huge. It's like twice as tall as me, if not more. And like it's a sphere, and it's like the same amount across. So it's like, how are you just gonna pick it up and take it? Maybe they got some sort of teleportation magic, but I'm like you're gonna pick this thing up. Movario says, "We stand before the most important, the most significant, the most powerful artifact to ever be discovered in Gielinor, and it's all thanks to me. With the patience of 1,000 men, I have spent my life following the smallest of clues and the slightest of hints to discover only the most minute inkling of its essence. So yes, you will step aside, because after all I've done to get here, I have no intention of letting you stop me now. If Lucien gets the stone, the world burns. I don't plan on letting that happen," I say. Movario says, "And what makes you think Lucien will ever lay his hands on it? He may have contributed to my research funds, certainly, but in terms of actual possession, I now hold the cards." I say, "You'd be a fool to cross him. He'd wipe you from existence before you could even say a word." Movario says, "Before, yes, but now the power of the stone is in the palm of my hand. Lucien has no hope of standing against that." I say, "Except you don't have the stone yet. You'll have to get through me first." Darv says, "No problems. I'll easily deal with you, mate." Movario says, "Darv, I wouldn't be too enthusiastic about tangling with our friend here. Their strength is unusual." Yeah. Melee, like attack, strength, defense, and ranged, and mage are all 255. Like that's what my stats are boosted to. Movario then says, "Surely you didn't. Hang on, I detect a buildup of energy." Here's Lucien. Movario. "Lord Lucien, we did not expect. It seems you have found the stone. Why was I not informed?" "The discovery was made mere moments ago, my lord. Now I need time to conduct research, and ensure it's safe to..." "Silence. Do you not feel that, Movario? It calls to me, my birthright. Icthrin, Zaros, Zamorak, all of them false. Finally, the Majorat shall take their rightful places as the sole inheritors of Gielinor, and I will be their god. Any who stand in my way shall be swept away like the civilizations of old. For those that are lucky, their children shall become slaves." And I say, "I wouldn't be so sure about that." Lucien. "Ah, Drift Array, I see you have decided to interfere once again. Commendable, but meaningless. You cannot stop what is to come. Death is all that awaits you if you try. You'll never have the satisfaction of killing me, Lucien. No matter what it takes, I'll make it my mission to stop you." "Such arrogance. Do you not realize who you address? I am Lord Lucien of the Majorat, master of the 1,000 curses. Look upon my works in despair. I think it's a biblical reference. You can bestow as many titles upon yourself as you like, but before long no one will even remember your name. You're just another monster craving a power you'll never have. Are you truly so misguided that you cannot see the truth before you? I hold both the Staff of Armadil and the Stone of Jas. Not since Zamorak himself has anyone possessed this much power. Nothing will stop me following in his footsteps. You think Zamorak will just stand by and let that happen? He doesn't have a choice. He no longer has any power here. His days are already done. Now, this conversation bores me. My ascension approaches, and I only have room for the strongest as my worshippers. Those too weak to slay even these lowly beasts will certainly not be wanted. I'm guessing that's the intro to what I'm going to fight. Ovario says, time for us to leave, Darv. And here we go. Rotating the camera. Oh, I have compatriots in my fight. Okay, I have to pray melee. Oh, I'm taking some damage, I must say. Maybe it's not too bad. I'm doing some great damage, though, I gotta say. Oh, now they're protecting against the style I just used. I gotta heal up. I'm trying to attack them one at a time. Gotta heal up again. Yeah, this is a bit much. There's just so much on screen right now, I can't even see what's happening. How are you supposed to do this stuff without even being able to see it? I'm eating a bunch of sharks. Okay, one of them's gone. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit more straightforward. Yeah, I guess I'll try mage against this one now. I don't know if it's doing that. I just took a bunch of damage. Okay. I'm like halfway through my sharks. But now it's praying mage, so I'm gonna pray range. Oh, it's attacking with mage, okay. So I'm praying mage and I'm attacking with range now. There's so much going on in these fights. It's a little bit nuts. Restoring my prayer. Now it's praying. Range, and I need to attack it with mage, I think. There we go. I hit a 34, and now it's coming at me with melee because I know that because it closed in. Okay, so I need to heal up again and keep attacking with mage because it's just praying ranged. Okay, now it's switched to another form. No, it's still attacking me with melee. Oh, it's down. Okay, so that's the fight. Wow, that was a little intense. I thought I might die there a few times, but with stats so high, as long as you heal up, I guess it's fine in this fight. So I'll stop praying melee. And now I talk to Idria. So I think that's the last boss fight of the game. Idria says, "Blessed Armadil, that was incredible. The stone must have augmented your strengths." Oh, in case you couldn't tell, maybe I don't know if I said it or not, but as soon as the beast spawned in, then the rest of this party that I assembled in the quest, all these forces on my side came down, teleported down here and joined in the fight. So that kind of helped out too. Idri says, "The stone must have augmented your strengths. I've never seen anything like it." Oh, it did. Now we better get back to Falador. Do you want me to teleport you there? They've been doing that this whole quest, teleporting me most of the places I need to go. And I say, yes, please. Alright, back in Falador, talking to Acrisay, which is another NPC in the quest, who says, "You're back, is everything okay?" I say, "Not exactly. I'm sorry, I failed. Lucian has the stone." How is that the case? That seems like a bit of a plot hole. It's just because Lucian came down there right when I was going down there. I don't know, it seemed a little bit hand-wavy. I did everything right, Therisk says, "Then our worst fears have come to pass, the horrors that he could unleash with it." Idria says, "That's something he'll never have a chance to do. Yes, this is a dark day, but I don't intend to give up, and I'm sure none of you do either." "But what will we do?" Drift Array, you've helped forge an alliance between the Temple Knights, Cruxacal, and the Guardians of Armadil. 3 very different groups, all fighting for the common good. We must build on that. We will strengthen our forces and find new allies to join our cause. When Lucian dares to rear his head again, we'll be ready. Acrisay says, well said. When times are darkest, it is all the more important that we continue to look for the light. The Temple Knights stand ready. I don't know. I'm finding the end of this quest, like this part, kind of annoying. It's like this whole time the stakes have been so high, it's like, the world will be destroyed. We have to stop him from getting that stone. And I did all this stuff to like unlock the stone, get down there first, dupe the person, Movario, who's trying to get there. And then Movario just walks in after me right when I find it. And then the Lucian just teleports in. And Lucian's like, I'm going to take this. And here's these things to fight. And I fight them. And then I guess Lucian has it anyway. And now all these other compatriots of mine are just like, well, you know, yeah, the worst thing possible happened, but let's just be hopeful. I'm like, what? Acrisay says, the Temple Knights stand ready. Therisk says, as do we in Cruxacal. What about me? Resk, my friend, you have well and truly earned it. We will take things from here. Idria says, don't worry, Drift Array. When the time is right, you'll be the first to know. I promise you, we will find Lucian. Together, we will stop him. Therisk says, and the world will be safe once more. I don't see how. Lucian already destroyed most of our party earlier in the quest. In like the end of Act 2, break to Act 3. And we're like, oh, this is the worst possible outcome. We have to retreat and fight another day. And then we're like, oh, I know what we can do. We can get to the stone first. The thing that will give Lucian like unlimited power. We have to get to it first. And now they're all just like, you know, we'll just fight another day and the world will be safe. It's like, I don't know how that's gonna happen. I was hoping it to be like have a more victorious finish. Oh, it says on the screen, meanwhile. It's like a cutscene. Okay, meanwhile. Faded to black. Okay, now I'm seeing a location from Dragon Slayer 2. Whoa. The Lithrican Dungeon. It's like a very slow camera pan, just like up this hallway full of machinery to this pool where this like dragon to end all dragons was like created. That's like where it was like staying, and it's just like big pool of liquid. Oh, and then off to the side there's like this tube that has a dragonkin inside, and the dragonkin are the ones who created all the dragons, and they're the ones I like defeated at the end of Dragon Slayer 2. But now I'm just seeing there's one in this tube, and now it's like covered in smoke. It looks like it just came to life. It broke out of the tube. Okay, so there's another big bad... Oh, shoot, there's 2 more of them. So now there's 3 big bad dragonkin. One of them has a monocle. Their name is Sacrith. These remind me of Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. They remind me a lot of Skeksis. Sacrith says Zorgoth. Sithaf says dead. That's the dragonkin that died at the end of Dragon Slayer 2. Strisath says, then we are free at last. Sacrith says, and strength grows within us. Sithaf says, the stone has been uncovered. The mortals try to claim its power. Sacrith says, then let us bring terror and pain to them. Strisath says, yes, the dragonkin will rise once more. So what triggered them to be... to wake up? I don't know about the end of this quest, but pretty much everything leading up to the end was, like, really cool. Really well put together. And now it's like, I mean, it's a grandmaster quest. It's like, how are you going to top this? It's like, they leave us on a cliffhanger. It's like, this whole quest is just like, yeah, you know, you bumble around and try to do some stuff, but it doesn't really work out. It's like, no, those are what the, like, intermediate, like the quests in between, like in the middle of these quest lines are for. It's like this one, I don't know. They should have had more closure. That's just what I think, initial impressions, but anyway, congratulations, you've completed While Guthix Sleeps. Got an herblore level, and a new total level. Great. So, now we gotta figure out how to get these notes, because that was the whole point. The whole point was to get Duradell's notes, I think. Duradell's notes obtained from Curadal. It grants Slayer experience equal to 15 times my Slayer level when read. I don't know if that's that big. As well as the ability to craft the Emberlight, Scorching Bow, and Purging Staff. Very cool. Well, hopefully it's actually readable, too. So we gotta go to Shiloh Village, I think, to get to Curadal. Let me double check that. Yep. Okay, so I need to go to the Grand Exchange. Go to the Spirit Tree, and then to the one I've planted in Brimhaven, which will let me take, I need money first. I need 200 coins, because if I go there, then I can take a mine cart or something that's really close by, and just go right to, that takes me right to Shiloh Village, which is really nice, because it's a pain to get to otherwise. Okay, traveled on the Spirit Tree, go to Brimhaven, run over to the cart. It's not a mine cart, it's actually like a little, wagon, kind of. It's called travel cart. It's like someone just, pulls it behind them. And it takes me to Shiloh Village. I just realized, for some reason, I've always thought of a specific friend I had in high school whenever I hear the name Shiloh Village. I don't even think he played this game. But I've always thought of him every time I think of this area, Shiloh Village, and I think I've been why? It's because one of his two middle names, one of them is Shiloh. It's pretty funny. Okay. And I'm talking to Curadal. Curadal says, hello, and what are you after then? And I say, more options. About Duradell. Spoilers, by the way. Curadal says, are you here with news on Lucian? I say, I'm afraid not. Curadal says, the moment you find him, you must come to me. I will ensure my father is avenged, because that Slayer Master is one of the ones who died in the break to Act 3 face-off with Lucian. Lucian just cast a spell and turned them into stone, and they just evaporate into dust, like a bunch of people who I'd recruited to fight with us. Drifter, I say, he wouldn't want you to get yourself killed as well. Curadal says, I will not suffer the same fate as my father. I intend to be prepared. For a start, I've been researching my father's notes to find weaknesses in Lucian's demonic thralls. That's interesting. May I see them? Of course, if we expect to defeat Lucian, we must work together. Curadal hands you an old notebook. Here it is. I'm going to examine it. It says, he didn't seem like the type to write. And here's his notes. You flick through a lifetime of notes on demon slaying, absorbing what you can. One passage catches your eye. And then it's like a chat head of Duradell saying, of all the creatures I have slain, demons are the most well-suited to killing each other. Everything from their blood to their magic is designed to be corrosive to their own kind. Unfortunately, most of their flesh burns to ash the moment it is severed from their body, although it seems like some organs are more resistant than others. If I'm ever able to leave this hut again, I should see about crafting some weapons out of demonic parts. there's the Slayer experience. That was only 945, but it still helps because it's such a slow skill to train. I say, interesting, if I get my hands on some demon parts, I should keep all of this in mind. So that gave me that ability, and I still have the notes. And it doesn't really do anything, it just says you flick through the notes if I read it again now, but don't learn anything new. But I'm going to keep it. So that's a book we unlocked. That's an inventory book, not a book for the bookcase, like the two we unlocked earlier in the quest. But that was the second goal we had for this quest, was after the promise of afterward getting this book. Just turns out there wasn't much lore to read. Well, anyway, maybe this is a shorter episode, but that's it for this one. Finished off While Guthix Sleeps, and got Duradell's notes. Well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of cozy old school RuneScape lore. For those of you who may still be listening, I appreciate you, and I just hope you sleep so well. Have a good night.